Hi everyone, welcome to Secret Sauce. Material science is changing the way we live, the way we dress, the way we drive, the way we work. With us today, Eyal Peso from Gauzy, enabler of smart glass technologies and a nanotechnology pioneer. Good morning, Eyal.
Good morning.
So what exactly is smart glass?
Well, smart glass is the notion of enabling the control of light through glass. I mean, glass is transparent. The uniqueness of glass that is transparent. It's a building material. We use it in the building industry, in cars, in all sorts of windows and otherwise. And smart glass is basically the ability to control light through glass without mechanical shutters.
So we're seeing now a demonstration of this. It means that a glass can turn opaque or transparent on demand?
In any state in between, yeah.
And
so we enable the notion of controlling light through glass. This is an application or a function that we do every day when we wake up in the morning. We open the window, open a shutter or a curtain, or if we're sitting in a car and we have a sunroof or a sun visor. So it's basically something we do every day. We control light through a transparent aperture every day. And we enable that electronically embedded in the glass. We develop materials, smart materials, that are embedded in or on glass to enable the control of light. And it's gradual control of light. It means that you can actually, today we offer technologies that enable you to control how much light comes through the glass. It's not just 1 or 0, but it's anything in between.
Mm-hmm. You've been doing this for what, almost 10 years now?
We founded the company end of 2009, started raising money in 2012. So up and running and fully operated since 2012. Yes.
And what you're creating is actually the technology behind smart glass, not the glass itself.
So what Gauzy is actually doing, it develops and manufactures the chemistry itself, the smart materials. We develop 2 out of 3 commercial technologies today, PDLC, hence liquid crystal, and SPD. It's 2 material technologies that we develop. We actually synthesize the chemistry from a molecule structure. We make emulsions and formulations, and we coat it on thin film that is then embedded in glass or on glass to enable electronically, to control light electronically.
Mm-hmm. What happens there physically? Is it the polarity of the particles inside the glass?
Yeah, it's sort of very high level. I'll explain it like this. The chemistry itself is a mix of particles that align and change when you apply electromagnetic field to it. So it's a physical barrier on a nano level that think of particles that are mixed, and once you apply power to them, they align so that light can pass through or be blocked, or sometimes be blocked, semi-blocked, or only certain wavelengths can pass through. So it's basically a physical barrier on a nano level that is manipulated by electromagnetic fields that are applied on glass or in glass.
Mm-hmm. And what can I do with smart glass? It sounds like a very interesting technology.
Yeah,
but
as
how
I
can it be
mentioned, I
applied?
mean, basically we control light all day, every day, all the time. If it's here in the office, if it's in our house with a curtain or a blind, if it's in the car. So wherever you have glass and you have sun, we're relevant. The 2 main target markets for Gauzy is the building industry on all its different segments. Mm-hmm. So it's commercial buildings, residential, retail, hospitals. We've built hospitals around the world. We just completed a hospital in Finland, actually, where they're trying to get rid of linen in internal partitions inside
for hygiene
ERs.
purposes.
Hmm?
For
hygiene
purposes,
but also for privacy. When a doctor checks a patient in an ER, he needs some privacy, but otherwise he has to have it open for in other cases. So in hotels, we have done the Crown Plaza in Singapore Airport, just completed Hilton in San Diego, a few hotels here in Israel. So building industry on all its different segments, wherever you have glass and you need to shutter light or control light, and you're doing it mechanically today, we can provide our tech to have that done embedded in the glass. Automotive, when I say automotive, it's not just passenger cars. Gauzy today is working with more than 10 OEMs. Published are 2 Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, and McLaren. McLaren just came out in 2020 with 2 models that has an SPD sunroof, where you can actually control the light on your sunroof with our technology. But it's not just passenger cars. We're working with more than 10 OEMs, as I mentioned. It's also trains. We're doing a few POCs with a few train train builders. Like I can't mention names, but aerospace, putting this on windows of airplanes. The Honda jets. Honda has a line of jets which came out 2 or 3 years ago. All of them are embedded with SPD technology. As I mentioned, marine, yachts, cruise ships, wherever you have glass and you have a lot of sun and you need to control light through it, we're relevant.
I understand. Is this the future, or is this an affordable technology that I can have in my home tomorrow?
It's a good question. We believe it's the future. We believe that we have today technologies that can make glass smart everywhere. But you're right, it's still a little expensive. I mean, but like any technology, it goes down with volume. Luckily enough, Gauzy is not just developing the chemistry, it's also producing it. So we know how much it costs to make 1 square meter or 10 square meters, 1 million square meters. And once we ramp up and scale up quantities, we can have it in every household or every office or every car, and that's our target.
And I understand you're just about ready to start doing that. You opened a new plant in Stuttgart.
True. Our first production line is based here in Tel Aviv. Our second production line, which is dedicated for the automotive industry, was just opened 2 weeks ago in Stuttgart, next to Stuttgart, next to all our main customers, the German OEMs, basically. Yes, when we're expanding, we're hoping to have a third production line during 2020. These 3 production lines will enable us to produce about 3 million square meters a year, which is already significant. To get back to the affordable, I mean, it's also a matter of priorities. I mean, it's not as cheap as mechanical solutions like a shutter or a curtain you have today, but we're getting there.
Amazing, amazing. Let's take a step back and talk a bit about the broader vision. How do you see the future of smart materials 5 or 10 years from now?
So, I mean, material science is everything, right? I mean, it's everything is materials. We're looking at tech, we're looking at chipsets, we're looking at electronics, we're looking at everything is based on materials and chemistry. So, material science is a discipline where you need more patience. It's deep science. It takes time to develop. When we're looking at R&D, the R has much more, the research has much more significance than just the D in development. But I mean, when you're looking at the academy and things that are coming out of the academy all over the world, material and smart materials are going to have a major place in the world, in the tech world, in the future, and not just in the 5-10 years, but in the 50 and 100 years to come.
You mentioned earlier smart glass applications in office spaces. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, actually, it is well known that glass generally is probably the most growing material when you're looking at interior design, office space and otherwise. Glass probably is the raw material with the highest growth rates. Why? Because glass is an amazing separation. It provides you, it can separate between rooms, office spaces, or otherwise. It has great engineering value because it doesn't take space. It's only 1 centimeter thick, so you're actually saving a lot of space.
Cheaper than cement?
Yeah, and dry walls and all that, it's sometimes cheaper. And on the other hand, you need sometimes your privacy, or you need sometimes to open for teamwork. So with our technology embedded on glass, you can have basically your wall, if it was just a drywall or cement, with the hard separations. Otherwise, you can flick a button, you can switch a button and have it open as if it's just a glass separation.
So if I have an annoying colleague, I could just switch them off and get some privacy, or
if you have a beautiful secretary, you can switch off and have and do otherwise. Yes, but basically, you need separations and walls inside internal spaces like office spaces, and glass walls today is the best solution. if you add Gauzy on top, to have both your enjoy both the advantages of just any wall separating offices for privacy, but also open it up with a flick of a switch, creating a look and feel of a much bigger space when you have glass separations, is just your perfect solution.
Excellent. I think there's a dilemma with open spaces now, because you want that openness, you want the
Right.
ability to collaborate, to communicate with your colleagues, but you also need privacy at
Sometimes,
times.
yeah. So that our technology provides both on the same substrate. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
here,
you.
Eyal.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
You too.